Are you considering a move to Boise, Idaho? Before you pack up, discover the unexpected reasons that might make you reconsider. Let's just put on the brakes for a second. The last thing that you want to do is make a move that isn't right for you. So my goal literally in this video is to try to get you to say no to Boise, Idaho. Today, we are counting down the top 12 reasons that you should not move to Boise, Idaho. Number 12 is going to be weather. With extreme temperatures, Boise, Idaho does not have the most forgiving climate. You will experience freezing winters here that might make you question your life's decisions.
Yeah, what have we done?
I've personally always lived in the Pacific Northwest, Washington, Oregon, Idaho, and Montana, and I would be the first one to tell you that the winters do get to me. And don't get me started on these super hot and dry summers that we have here. If you're looking for consistency and middle-of-the-road weather, then Boise, Idaho is not for you. If you're not somebody who gets really excited about 4 distinct seasons, Idaho is not going to be a good fit for you. The last thing you want to do is move here and then move away in 1 to 2 years and go through all that time, money, and stress. At number 11, we have the growing cost of living. With so many people flocking to Boise and northern Idaho, prices for everything from houses to groceries are shooting up. Do you remember when Boise was considered an affordable city?
I remember that.
Well, those days are definitely gone. Now prices are coming down, but currently the median sale price for Boise, Idaho is $487,000. For number 10 on the list, it's too much nature.
Wait, I'm confused.
Yes, you heard that right. While the great outdoors are great, there can be too much of a good thing. From local wildlife in your backyard to isolation from urban conveniences, you might start missing your urban jungle sooner than you think. Just last week, people in the north end spotted a moose that was just running through town. I mean, imagine you're sitting at Camel's Back Park, hanging out, and your kids are there, and all of a sudden you just see this moose maybe just swinging down to the grocery co-op to get something, and now it's running back up to the foothills. Idaho is wild. It is not your major city. It is different. Coming in at number 9 is going to be the slower pace of life. Now, this might be a selling point for some of you, but for others, it could easily be a con. This laid-back lifestyle might feel a bit too laid-back if you're really used to the hustle and bustle of a big city life. And then in addition to that, you might think that you want that. Like if you're moving away from a big city and you're thinking, man, I want that laid-back lifestyle. But then you might get here and you might find that it isn't what you want.
Oh, maybe you're right.
Can you handle a city that is just not a booming LA or a booming Seattle? Now, granted, Boise is one of the largest metropolitan areas in Idaho, so it's got that going for it in comparison to everything else, but it's nothing compared to some other major cities. Coming in at number 8, we have the food scene, or lack thereof. If you would call yourself a self-proclaimed foodie, Boise might leave you a bit unsatisfied.
I don't know if I can handle it.
The culinary scene here isn't quite as diverse as you're going to find in some larger cities. So if you do end up coming, be prepared to kind of brush up on your culinary skills and start to find some good YouTube channels you like that can push you in the direction you want to go. And if you want, ask me in the comments down below, and I'd love to make a recommendation for some YouTube channels that I like with some food that I think is fabulous. Coming in at number 7 is going to be transportation woes. Public transportation in Boise is, well, it could be better. If you don't own a car, getting around could be a real hassle. Bike friendly? Yes, but not exactly bus friendly. At number 6, we have limited job opportunities. Unless you're in certain industries like tech or healthcare, finding a job that matches your career goals might be more challenging than you think here in Boise, Idaho.
So frustrating.
And at number 5, you are far from everything. Do you want a quick weekend getaway to a big city or a beach? It's not going to happen, folks.
I can't do this.
Boise is somewhat isolated from major cities and popular vacation spots. Better get used to long road trips.
Are we
there yet?
The one caveat to that is that Boise does have a great airport for the size of the city. But be honest with yourself, I know a lot of you will feel landlocked if you move here. You love going to the beach. You love having things close by. Don't look at Boise kind of with these hazy glasses on that make everything look amazing.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
If you move here, it's isolating. There's nothing around us. And to add one more thing onto the far from everything thing, don't forget, Boise is surrounded by mountains, by mountain passes. So when you're considering making a drive in the winter, if you're going to do a road trip, you definitely think twice about it. Now, I've grown up with this stuff my entire life. And even I get really, really nervous about it because there's just not much you can do when you hit a patch of black ice. I remember me and my family were driving up to Boise, Idaho, where my wife's from, and we were coming up on the pass just this side of McCall, Idaho. And sure enough, you look in the ditch and there's a car upside down. If you're coming from an area where that's just not something you deal with, know that that is something that you will deal with if you move here. And again, I don't want you to come here and be like, man, winters are tough. I hate driving. I feel isolated. I got to get out of here. Before we jump to the next one, if you're ready to make the move to Boise and these things aren't scaring you away, then reach out. Here's my number. Go ahead and pause the video if you need to write it down, and make sure to schedule a one-on-one consultation with me so we can help you plan your move to Boise, Idaho. Coming in at number 4 is limited diversity. Compared to other cities, Boise's cultural diversity leaves a lot to be desired. And this might be a deal breaker for you if you are used to a rich, multicultural environment. Coming in at number 3, it's too quiet. Boise's nightlife and entertainment scene are quite quiet and tame compared to other larger cities. If you are a night owl who loves concerts and late night eateries and the hustle and bustle of a big city, Boise might seem a bit too quiet for your tastes. Number 2, Boise might be too liberal or too conservative for you. So this is a tough one. It really depends on you. Boise, in terms of the rest of the state, leans pretty liberal. And that could be a pro for you or that could be a con for you. I was just talking to a family who moved up from California, and they specifically moved to Eagle because Boise was a little bit too liberal for them. Now, on the flip side of that too, you might think it's too conservative. Just this last week, I was driving down the road, and it is not an uncommon sight to see a huge truck flying a Trump flag. And if you saw that, you might think, gosh, this is way too conservative for me. Nope. So just know that if you come to Boise, you might find that it doesn't necessarily line up with what you thought it was going to be. And finally, at number 1, you are not into the outdoors. So Boise and Idaho in general has great things to do in the outdoors. The foothills, biking, motorcycle riding, quad riding, fishing, rafting, winter sports, skiing, snowboarding, snowmobiling. Yeah. So if you're somebody who's not into the outdoors and doesn't like getting out in the winter, you might reconsider Idaho or Boise as an option for you and find something else with a better climate that allows you to do things more year-round. No place is perfect, and Boise is absolutely no exception. And I want you guys to be honest with yourselves as you're considering a move. I know it's not easy leaving everything that you know and leaving friends and leaving family. And so think long and hard about this. And if you want to talk more about it, say you watch some of these and you're like, you know what, some of those I don't like, but I could live with them. But some of those I'm okay with, and you still think Boise would be a great place for you, then be sure to reach out. We get calls, texts, emails, phone calls every day from people just like you, and we love it. We love being your guide and helping you make the move from where you are to Idaho so that you can call Boise home.